right, welcome back to another day of the 12 Days of Burnout Breakthrough. And today's guest is one of my coaches and colleagues inside Flow Based Prosperity Mastermind. But today we're going to talk about manifestation. And it's not what you think, but I had a major breakthrough that I think you, the listener, the audience here, could benefit from hearing my story, how I worked with this person, how I broke through burnout, because I was experiencing burnout myself. And before we get into the episode, I'm going to have Cintia introduce herself to you, tell you a little bit about what she does, and then we'll get into the discussion. All right, Cintia.
Hi, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be here. It's so wonderful to be with you all. And thank you so much, Kathie, for inviting me to be part of this amazing series that you're doing. And so, yeah, my name is Cintia. I am a manifestation coach and also a certified hypnotherapist. And basically, what I do is help people create the lives of their dreams. And we do that through practicing conscious manifesting. And so, to put it in very simple terms, what I help people do is I help them craft the version of themselves that is ideal, so their highest self. And then I help them embody that version of themselves. And by doing that, they automatically bring into their lives the desires that they want to manifest. So basically, in a nutshell, that's what I do. That's what I help people do.
Okay. And let me tell you something. You're in for a treat today because she did exactly that with me on a less than 20-minute discovery call. So, what I did was I've known Cynthia for several months now. She's part of a mastermind that I'm in. I decided to call her because I have been struggling with burnout. I was burned out, very stuck in my ways. And it's so funny because the student and the teacher are one because I am teaching burnout. And with each person that's come on the episodes, I have learned something about myself. And I've also taught something to my audience. And today's episode is going to be extra special because I'm going to walk through the steps that I went through with Cynthia in this phone call, which I felt like when I called her, I was like, are you in my head? How did you know that? And I just told her maybe 5 sentences max of what I was dealing with. And I am open to be vulnerable and explain everything that happened because it was very profound and it has a lot to do with my business and the way I am going forward. So I will let Cynthia talk for a few minutes and we'll see what she says about our conversation. And then we'll come back to me and I'll give you some more feedback. So Cynthia, here to you.
Thank you. And thank you so much for sharing about the the conversation that we had. Yeah. So basically what happened was that Kathie was explaining to me certain things that have been happening, but she didn't tell me her entire life. She just mentioned a few things that have happened recently that, were important to her, that were making her feel not so great. I believe there were three things that you shared with me. And I was like, oh, well, those three situations, even though they don't seem to be related, could they be because of this? And that thing that I pointed out was for her was like, oh my God, you're reading my mind. Like, how can this has been a pattern for my entire life. Like, how could you realize that in just three things that have happened recently to point out this that has been happening my entire life? Well, the reason for that is because we are constantly seeing in our reality a reflection of the beliefs that we have about ourselves. And so even though we may think about manifesting, like I am turning it on right now because I'm starting to practice manifestation, in reality, the world is always reflecting our beliefs back to us. And so when Kathie shared those 3 situations with me, I was able to identify, well, those 3 situations are clues that are telling me something about you that you could be thinking about yourself, a belief that you have about yourself. And those 3 situations are showing that to you. And so I said, well, could it be this? Because those 3 situations to me were related, even though they seemingly were not. To me, they were. And so I pointed out these 3 clues that you're sharing with me could be pointing to this. And that is exactly what it was. That's this pattern that Kathie has seen over and over in her life, her entire life. And so basically that's the way I help people to embody their ideal version of themselves. Because when we craft this ideal version that they want to embody, and then we start this practice of embodying this ideal version, in order to embody the ideal version, they need to let go of the old one, right? And so practicing this awareness of, oh, this situation is coming up. Oh, I'm having these emotions, or I'm having these thoughts, emotions, feelings, and situations. Instead of going to battle with those things that we don't like, we see them as clues that are showing something. They're showing us something about who we believe we are. And so by using those as clues and recognizing, oh, yeah, wait, that is my old self. I'm not that version of me anymore. And this is the version that I want to be. So I practice moving and embodying this new version over and over again until it becomes natural. It becomes who I am naturally. But what we did is practicing this awareness of, if these things are coming up, they're showing this about yourself, a certain belief. And then what we do is start to let go of that belief and move to the ideal. Let go of the old belief, of the old version of yourself, and move into the ideal. And so knowing and noticing that old version of you that you're being is such a powerful way of changing yourself and your reality, because you realize the things that are happening in my life are not out of the blue, right? I have the power to change them by recognizing what they truly are, which are these clues, and then choosing the new version of myself every single time.
Yes, this happened in real life. So the 3 things that she's talking about, I am willing to explain them here because they were my beliefs. These are not reflections on anybody else but myself, okay? So first thing that happened was I was working in a corporate job where the culture was very, very toxic. My manager was bullying me. The second situation was my partner, Eddie, was like, I felt like he was just trying to fix me. But in reality, I was viewing that as a limiting belief that I wasn't being valued, or he didn't see the potential in me. And then another thing, it's the holiday season, okay? I'm around other family members who I don't see very often, and they're like worried about me, how I'm going to make success in my business, which I'm doing, by the way. But all of 3 of those were limiting beliefs on my part. It was like, oh my God, somebody's judging me. They're thinking I'm bad. They're bullying me. They're telling me I'm not good enough. There was no reward and recognition. Here's the thing, Cynthia easily made me see I wasn't seeing the patterns that she's talking about. Was I was stuck in those limiting beliefs that I was not valued. I was not appreciated. When in reality, I need to let go of that old self and become the person who I'm meant to be, which is I am valued and I am taken care of. And let's take this over to burnout and corporate wellness, because these are things that I incorporate in corporate companies. Rewards and recognition, not just a ticket you put into a bucket and you get a prize out. No, I reward you and recognize you for the hard work that you're doing. And that is something I needed, but that's the old me that needed that. Those were old beliefs I was holding on to that Cynthia helped me see. And so when you're holding on to old beliefs and you're holding on to old patterns like that, you're going to get burnt out. Because guess what? I got extremely burnt out. I was stressed out. I had anxiety. All of these episodes have helped me in some way, shape, or form, all 12 of them. I will have a link to them in the show notes and description below to all 12 episodes because we did tapping, we did hypnosis, we did finances, we did leadership, we did storytelling and magic, even magic. And they're all related and they're all helpful in some way, shape, or form. And it's kind of like icing on the cake with Cynthia being the 11th day because she's explaining to us kind of like everything. She noticed all the patterns, all the limiting beliefs, and I had a major breakthrough after talking to her. And this was just a discovery call. And so I'm like, I'm sold. I'm working with her because and I also will have Cynthia inside my group coaching program that will have a lesson. She's one of my experts inside my program that can help us learn how to utilize her resources and help us understand how to break through and get over that burnout. So I'm going to turn it back over to Cynthia for a minute because I know she's got some insights for us and some other things she might want to say. So I'm going to turn it back over to you, Cynthia, and let's hear your feedback on that.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much, Kathie. I love what you just said. That realization that you were going to the world in search for that validation, in search for that appreciation, right? And that is exactly this the breakthrough is wait a minute. I don't need to get that from anyone other than myself. If I give that to myself, I become the person who is appreciated. I become the person who is loved. And that is my choice. I don't need anyone else outside of myself to give me anything in order for me to be that person. I am loved, valued, appreciated, recognized for what I do. And so when I become that person, the world will reflect that back to me. But when we are looking and searching and chasing that love, that validation, that appreciation, who are we being? We are being the person who is not those things. We are not the person who does not have the love, who is not cherished, who is not valued. And so from that self, I cannot get those things because I am being the person who doesn't have that. So by me choosing to put the focus of my attention in myself, then I get to choose who do I want to be? Do I want to be the person who does not have those things and who needs to go and chase that? Or do I choose to be the person who is already loved, cherished, appreciated, and valued? Well, I want to be this version of myself. And when I am that version, when I step into being that version of myself, when I embody that version of myself, everything automatically changes because the world is always reflecting back to us who we are being. And so is making that choice. Do I want to keep being that version, that old version of me who does not have what I want and who needs to be chasing that? Or do I want to be the person who already has it? And the good news is that I can be this version of myself. It is my choice, regardless of what the world is showing me. So if I am still interacting with people who are not showing me what I want to see, so let's say I want to feel appreciated, but I'm still interacting with this boss that is not appreciating my work, I get to choose regardless. I don't need this person to show me anything. I can step into this version of me who is appreciated. And when I do, with the practices that the manifesting techniques that perhaps you've heard about. And if you haven't heard about them, I actually created a free resource that I'm going to share with you so that you can actually go and practice this yourself. You can step into this version of yourself who is appreciated, regardless of what the world is showing you, regardless of the way people are treating you. It is your choice. And when you do, then the world shifts to reflect that back to you. And so people start treating you differently, start appreciating what you do, start respecting you because you are now being this new version of yourself. So I love that you realize that, like, oh, I was chasing this validation. And now I realize that I can give that to myself.
Yes. Yes, and yes. So I want to pinpoint something. My pattern she caught, okay? Maybe your pattern is having to do with your health and wellness. Or maybe your pattern has to do with your money and your finances. My pattern had to do with my belief in myself. And I switched that. And she is so right. My whole reality shifted. I still see little cracks and patterns. And that's where she comes in to help with her freebie that she has. You want to utilize that free resource and take advantage of it. Sign up for her email list, follow her on Instagram because she has live workshops every week. And on those live workshops, she helps people break through their patterns, whatever it may be. It could be health and wellness. It could be weight loss. You just think about whatever struggle you're happen to be going through. It could be a relationship. Opportunities are endless, but I invite you to follow her on Instagram. I'm going to turn it back over to Cintia and let her tell you where she is on Instagram and a little bit about her freebie as well.
Yes, thank you so much, Kathie. So yeah, I want to point that out as well. It's not only about this particular interaction with your boss, for example. It could be relationships like with your partner, boyfriend, husband, wife, girlfriend, with your family members. It could be the relationship that you have with your body. It could be, health problems. It can be money, finances, career, like any area of your life, really, because it is all based on who you believe you are, the beliefs that you have about yourself. And so that can be in any area. So, whatever it is, you can shift the way you think about yourself, what you believe about yourself, and then it will reflect that change. Your life will reflect that change. And the freebie that I've created, you can actually use it for any area of your life. So, it could be for your career, but it could be for anything else. And so, the freebie is a guide to create an imaginary scene. And let me explain you why. So basically, when we want to manifest something, like I mentioned before, we need to shift into a new identity. And so the first thing that you need to know is to be clear on what you want. So what it is your desire. And then you need to start embodying that version of yourself who already has what you want. And so the idea is that you want to understand what your life would look like if that desire was already real. So if you wanted a promotion, for example, let's say that if you had that promotion, what would you be doing? How would you be feeling? What would you be thinking, right? You need to understand who you would be if you already had that fulfilled desire. And that is where manifesting techniques come in. So there are a lot of techniques, but the goal of any of those techniques is to help you step into that new identity. So perhaps the mainstream version of seeing techniques is like they're a magic wand that you just do them and they magically make things appear. And that's not how they work. The goal when you use a manifesting technique is to change yourself, to start stepping into that new version of yourself. And so, with this guide to create an imaginary scene, what it's going to help you do is to help you visualize you living that wonderful life. And so, let's say that you want that promotion. So, what would be different in your life if you had already gotten the promotion? What will you be doing with that extra money? What will you be thinking about yourself? You might be thinking, oh, I'm the best, right? Maybe you would be celebrated by your friends and family, right? So what would they be saying to you, right? And so with this guide, it's going to give you the step by step for you to create a scene of your fulfilled desire, of your life, the way it would look if that desire was already real. And what you do with that is you go and visualize it and you just feel the reality of your fulfilled desire. And then when you do that, you start stepping into that new identity of, yes, I'm the one who gets the promotion and it's easy. That's who I am. And so then the world has to reflect that back to you. And so that is the tool that I want to share with you so that you can actually start practicing this in any area. It could be love, family, money, career, whatever you want. And yeah, that is the tool that I want to share with you today. And then, like Kathie said, every week, if you're interested in learning more about manifesting, more about how we use these tools, more about how to create the life of your dreams, every Sunday I go live on my Instagram to share this with people. And it's also a Q&A, so you can ask your questions, whatever they are, and we can have a wonderful conversation. So Kathie will share the link to my Instagram, which is manifesting_my_self, manifesting myself, and also the link to download that guide.
Okay, great. Thank you so, so much. So, on every episode that I do, I have a blog post that has bonus resources, more content, and including where you can find Cintia and get this free download that's very, very beneficial. That will be in the show notes and description below. And again, I have to say thank you so much, Cintia, for the impact that you made in my life. I know you're helping so many. So she does go live on Instagram every Sunday. And let's say you can't make it live, you still watch the replay. It's just so life changing. It's wonderful. So I invite you to learn more about what she does and go check her out. And all right, that's my episode for today. I trust that you found it helpful. If you know somebody who can benefit from this, please share it with them. And until next time, I'll see you next time. Peace out and namaste.